Well, with 6 months to go before the federal election, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has written a memoir about his upbringing called Love and Courage. The NDP leader recounts in vivid detail a difficult childhood with bullying, sexual harassment, and an alcoholic father, and how it shaped him into the politician you see today. Jagmeet Singh comes to us from Toronto. Mr. Singh, that certainly doesn't sound like an easy childhood. What was behind the bullying, and how did you deal with it?
It was not an easy childhood. Like a lot of Canadians, I faced a lot of challenges. The bullying was based on the fact that I looked different, the color of my skin, the fact that I had long hair, my name was different sounding to folks, and so that was something that resulted in bullying. You alluded to it. I was assaulted sexually by someone that I trusted, my martial arts instructor. So that was something that took me a long time to understand and to deal with. And then the alcoholism was probably the biggest problem that I faced in my family, with my dad, someone who was so incredibly loving and generous on one hand, but then was hurting the people around him and hurting himself. It was so difficult to understand that. And it was only when I realized that it was an illness, when I saw him just become a shell of his former self, losing so much weight and becoming frail, walking, using a walker to walk. It was at that point that I really understood that this was an illness, and that helped me understand that what he had done wasn't something that he was doing as a choice. At some point it became a horrible illness that had taken his life in a lot of ways.
But it's interesting, he bounced back. He got treatment and went back to practicing medicine.
He did. His story is pretty phenomenal. I mean, this book is as much my story as it is his story. Mm-hmm. And it's a rise and fall and then rise again of my dad. And now he's healthy, loving as before, and without the addiction, without the illness, giving back by helping so many people in his profession as a physician, and being a great dad and a great friend. And so it is an incredible story of resilience and of triumph despite the difficulties and obstacles. And I hope it inspires people. But most importantly, I hope it makes people feel less alone who are going through these things.
Interesting. Yeah, I was going to ask about that, but let's deal with this difficult sexually abusive encounter you had with your instructor. That was back when you were in elementary school. It wasn't physical sexual abuse, but it sure reads like you were being used for a very perverted sexual gratifications. After all these years as a secret, I'm wondering, how hard was it to put that in print, and what do you hope that accomplishes?
It was physical, Don, in nature. And that was something that was something I felt a lot of shame about, a lot of guilt about, and it was difficult to understand, and particularly so because I didn't speak to anyone. And the reason why I wanted to tell that story in particular is because for a long time I didn't want to think about it. Couldn't deal with it. And the first time I spoke to someone about it, and they told me it wasn't my fault, that you're obviously 10 years old, you know it wasn't your fault. And I knew it wasn't, but hearing someone say that really, really shocked me, but cracked open my heart and made me feel this massive amount of relief, and it helped me heal. And so I hope that by telling my story, I can help a lot of people that maybe don't know that it wasn't their fault, or folks that feel that they don't deserve to be happy in their life, they don't deserve love. I want them to know it is not your fault, you deserve love, and you deserve to be happy.
I find it interesting. You had a life in the provincial legislature of Ontario. It barely rates more than a couple of paragraphs, and not much into the NDP leadership. Isn't there something you want people to know about your political upbringing and what effects that had on your politics as you enter this election?
Well, I'm hoping that I wanted to do two things with this book. First and foremost, I wanted to do something that would help people. I knew that there would be a lot of people that would be paying attention to the story that I wrote, that there would be a lot of eyes on this story, and I thought, what could I do that would have a positive, meaningful impact on the lives of Canadians and people that are going through struggles? So that's why I chose to tell my story. When it comes to what I care about, I think the story shows what I care about and why I believe so much in social programs, social services. I was only able to survive and get past all these difficulties because of so many people around me that helped me out, and because of programs. My dad went through so many different rehab centers, but it was the publicly funded, modest rehab center in the city of Windsor that actually saved his life. And that's a powerful example of a family that was pretty much down and out. We didn't have very much money, things were really tough, and it was this publicly funded rehab center that my dad had access to that actually saved his life.
Okay.
And
I want to ask
that's
one.
why, for me, I care so much about social programs, and that's why I think it'll let Canadians know why I care about building a better society.
Understood. I do want to ask you quickly, 6 months to go before the election. There is already some negative attacks rolling out from the Conservatives. Do you see the NDP approach over the next 6 months or so an attack on the government record, or do you think it's going to be more sort of sunny ways campaigning?
Well, we want to show the contrast. We want to show people the choices that the Liberal government's made, the choices that Conservative governments make. Conservatives, tell people they have to go it alone. The Liberals are effectively saying that the status quo is good as it is. We believe that people deserve a lot better. And that's why I want to show the contrast between the other options and let people know, listen, we're going to be on your side. We're going to make sure that the pharma care plan that we put in place will cover everybody. You can use just your health card, not a credit card, to get the medication you need. We want to bring forward a Green New Deal, a Canadian version of a Green New Deal, where we create jobs and spur the economy, spur economic growth while reducing emissions and defending our environment. And we want to make sure that people have a home to call their own. And that's why we are going to fight hard to build new affordable units across this country so that people can actually find a place to call home.
Okay. Long road ahead. Jagmeet Singh, thanks for joining us. I appreciate this.
Thanks, Don.